You mentioned earlier, of course, Garcia and Wheeler being two people that you considered for NXT. You were saying Ricky Starks is somebody you wanted to bring in as well.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that, and did you see the writing on the wall when the branding was changed, perhaps?
No, it was just a change of philosophy. That there was I told this story recently, but all the top talent at NXT, after NXT Portland, we came out, and I have the theory that everything peaked at Portland. People take it for granted now that we put out 36 incredible shows. There's no company in history ever done that, ever. 36 universally praised shows, but it became took for granted after a while, right? But you go back and watch this. That's an incredible thing to do. After that show in Portland, all the top fellas there, most of them are here now in AEW. We all knew. We said something's got to change because we've done everything. We need to start, and I don't know what it is. None of us knew. We don't. Something different, a little bit, to start evolving this, because we've just done everything. You can't get how many more incredible things before it, and we managed somehow to keep going through COVID. But once COVID hit, all those thoughts went out the window. It was survival, and let's just get through this. So it really everything stayed the same. We just did it with no people, right? So when I was told there was going to be a change last year, there was a lot of reasons, and everybody's got their own thoughts, but I thought it needed a change because most of the young up-and-coming wrestlers weren't coming our way anyway. They were coming to AEW. There was a few coming our way. They come here because they were looking at it. It's like, it's great. When everybody else was moaning about this place, I wasn't. Right? I'm going, great. That's another place, because my job is to look after wrestlers. Well, part of my job looking after wrestlers who didn't work for the company I work for. Where do you work, fellas? You need to go out and work and get noticed. Where do you work? So I would sometimes send them to England, send them to or place it up, send them to different companies. Yeah, it's another company where they can go and get better. Right? That's the way I was looking at it in the company at that time. But if their idea was, okay, we want whatever we want to do with it, I work for them. Yeah, that's great. And we pretty much knew that, okay, if whatever comes out the other side of this, we've got to start changing something. Right, because we've had to, and unfortunately, the byproduct of COVID was a lot of the same fellas, because they were incredibly good and reliable, and the ladies crew we had was incredible. They were on constantly, week after week after week through COVID. So anybody can only be on TV for so long. Well, they all had a 2-year spell of being on TV every week. So it was. We knew something had to change. If they want to change, okay, let's just make it work. So it was, okay, we're going to go this way. Okay, we go that way. And I'm thinking, well, there's another place for people to go. We still don't know we're still coming out of this thing. Even now, we're still coming out of this thing. There's a place we go. So good, because it'll work itself out one way or the other. Very few people get to stay in one company for their life. So they can, now there's options for all these younger people to go to different places. Because if you get good here, you probably more chances of somebody wanting you somewhere else, right? Pretty obvious. But if you've got nowhere to go, how are you supposed to get noticed? So that's just no different than it's always been for me, from when I started in this. So I was on board with it, and then I saw the philosophy changing. Okay, then I changed with it. It'll work itself out somehow. Whatever happened when I know what, when it was come a time, we were on board. Okay, we got to change. It was told us, and then H went down, got ill, and without him around, I'm never going to be a person. And he knew that. This is why he took me on at the very beginning. I was the first person to be a part of that. I will never say yes if I think the answer is no, ever. Yeah. That's me. And there was, if you send somebody down there new that wants to oversee it, and everybody's still coming to me. Doesn't matter what he says to it. It's perfect business sense. I understood right. It's time for me to go, right? And when it came, okay, I get it. Could you keep me on as something else? Yeah, of course you could. But it's too late because I'm too ingrained in this, and everybody's going to associate me with this. As a business move, it's best to get rid of me.
Yeah, right? I understand, I guess.
Right. So it didn't matter to me because really, I needed. I didn't realise till I stopped how much I'd gone through in the last few years. I needed some time off.
Yeah.
Like, even now, everything I'm involved in is here. I am not aware of what's going on in the rest of the world of wrestling because I've had to do nothing but that for the last. I've done it for the last whatever, but the last 10 years, I've known everything about every place, about every company. I've watched every show from everywhere because that was my job, to be on top of that. And I'm still not doing that. I'm doing what I'm doing here and watching what's going on here because this is where I work now. I haven't got 150 people. By the time I left there was 100 people at NXT, 150 people in the UK. And I've got to make sure that they're all okay as much as possible. But you can't, it's not a 2-minute conversation that when people have real problems going on. And I had to take all that off. And when you're trying to, you don't realize how much that does to you until you actually don't have to do it, and then go, wow, I can just be talent now, or talent and concentrate on doing what I really love to do, is to teach people to be a better wrestler. Right?
Mr. Regal, I'm aware that we don't have too much time, so I'm going to do my thank yous in a minute. I do want to ask you quick though, because I did enjoy King of the Ring Regal. Was there ever any discussions about you being the world champ? We saw Drew become the first UK champ, but you were never discussed.
Yeah, I did an interview earlier today, and I said I was really happy for Becky and Sheamus because they were the first. And I said there was never a British champion. I should have said English because there's never been an English champion. So I'm incredible. Drew's somebody I've known obviously since he was 21 or something. I'm so happy for him. There was never, to me, there was never any talk of that. And that story will come out soon because I've just recently told it of what happened at that time and what did happen. It was something that wouldn't even get a blink of an eye nowadays, why I got out of that. But once I was out of that role, within a few days of me wondering why I was, because it was a bit of a nonsense thing, but it's just a different time and things were very fragile with the perception of what was going on with wrestling, and I just took it on the chin and didn't try and fight anything. I was glad I was out of it because I didn't realize how much pressure that I was putting on me. Like I did one time in that, I think there was 13 different segments I did in Raw. That's a lot of stuff to do. And like coming back and think, that's why once I got there, and sorry I'm keeping you, but once I got there to WWE, I didn't want to be that top person. I'd been through that much life. I wanted to just work 180 days a year and then go home to see my children. Because my first two children barely saw at all growing up. Because I was away all the time. I was quite happy with the schedule. I didn't want to be world champion. Because there's a lot of weight that so you're working 350 days a year and working 30 hours a day. You know what I mean? It's a non-stop job. I didn't want that. I wanted to, that's why I'm still with my wife since I was 17. That's why I'm still with my children talk to me. You know, it comes with a price. I've got friends still. You lose everything a lot of the times when you're in that position. I didn't want it. So there was no talk of it. Maybe there was with other people. It was never mentioned to me. It was just a role that I was in.
Well, I'm delighted that you are still involved and you did decide to come to AEW, man. Because as I say, I'm enjoying it richly.
I'm absolutely loving it here because, again, I'm just getting to be me and do concentrate on helping people who want help. And I love that. That's what I do.
You do. And it's been a thrill for me. Mr. Regal, thank you so much for joining us here on Talk Wrestling, on Talk Sport. I would love to do this again one day, and I'm sure we will. Hopefully on these shores would be great when you guys come over. Do you know, is there any talk of a UK show? Do we know this?
I don't know.
I hope so. Let's just hope.
I've been here 3 months, but it's gone by so quick because I'm just trying to figure out my place in this. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, I will pester Tony for that answer. But until then, William Regal, thank you so much for joining us on TalkSport.
Thank you very much indeed for having me. Thank you.